To turn in your Bible to the book of James as I read from chapter 2, verses 17 through 18. In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, "You have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do." This is the word of the Lord.
Give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken.
Good morning. My name is Taylor Goodson, and I'm a member of the Wake Forest Baptist Church Youth Choir. This past spring, we took a trip down to Wilmington, North Carolina for our annual choir mission trip. While we were there, we spent time singing for a nursing home, singing for homeless people, and singing for the church that we were staying at during their church service that Sunday. One morning, while feeding the homeless in a pancake breakfast, our youth gathered outside the sanctuary before beginning the meal. We stood together on the steps of the church, singing all kinds of Christian music we could think of, and we welcomed people as they came to eat with us. As we were singing, Adam Fitzgerald approached a man who was coming into the church for breakfast. After asking if he'd eaten yet, the man replied no, but after seeing us, he said that he'd already been fed. Seeing God work through us for these people made me realize just how much joy singing can really bring these people. During the weekend, we worked in a community garden. While there, we cleaned the garden and helped the people who ran it. The produce from the garden would be donated to food pantries and homeless shelters for those who couldn't afford to buy their own food. Along with this, we worked in a local food pantry that was open to anyone in need in the community. While there, we sorted food into sections and stood by certain sections to help people as they came by to gather food. It was interesting watching how different people responded to the way we greeted them as they came by to see us. Between singing at the nursing home, working with the church, working in a community garden, and working in a food pantry, God was definitely at work in us. Being a part of the youth choir this past year has been such a blessing to me. Using my talents in music is the easiest way for me to connect with the Lord, and I loved being able to see others that have the same type of connection through the music that we sang. I'm so glad that we had the chance to go on this trip, and I can't wait to see what the youth choir can do in the future.
Hi, my name is Megan Redfern, and I recently graduated from Heritage High School. On Senior Sunday, I sat in the front row and listened as my friends Becca Perry and Brooks Hill shared their testimonies. I then felt called to share mine and decided that this would probably be my last opportunity to do so. This past week, we traveled down to Columbia, South Carolina. On Monday morning, I found out I'd be working in Tommy Killigrew's group. We worked with Habitat for Humanity on a house where in 1 week, we were able to turn a small carport into a bathroom, washroom, and other projects around the house. Most importantly, we were able to help a much-deserving mom and daughter get one step closer to moving into their home. Every year, we fill a cross with our God moments from each day of the week. Coming up on the end of my time in youth group, I began to think back about what my biggest God moment has been over my years. I realized that I simply couldn't pick just one significant moment, but instead, the one constant thing about this youth group has been the unwavering fellowship. The friendships formed within a group like this are so pure and genuine because they are built on a foundation of God. I've cherished every single moment here, even ones with those of you who I wasn't able to get to know as well as others. For those of you who I was able to get to know and consider some of my closest friends, you have forever impacted my life, and I honestly don't know where I would be or what kind of person I would have become without your friendships. To any youth here thinking about joining the youth group, I strongly encourage you to come. I have seen many people come into this youth group and quickly find a family, including myself. I have seen this group come together in times of need. I have seen them help people find Christ and even witness miracles happen among us. I would like to read with you John 13:34. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. This verse is so relevant about the relationships built in this youth group, not only because of the way everyone loves one another, but also in our bond through Jesus Christ. Thanks to the amazing friendships and family that I've gained in this group, I will always remember there's no place like home, and there's especially no place like Wake Forest Baptist Church Youth Group.
Good morning.
Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Perry, and next month I will be attending NC State. As pretty much everyone says, time flies, and on the last night of my last mission trip with our youth group, I finally realized how completely true that statement is. This last year in the youth group has been the most fleeting one yet. I'm sad to see it go, but I am blessed and honored to say that I was a part of our Wake Forest Baptist Church youth group. I am the person I am today because each person in these green shirts has taught me something, even if they didn't even realize it. I'd like to share what exactly all of my friends have shown me by example this past week. One of my favorite songs we sing in youth group is called If We Are the Body. I'd love to sing you all some of my favorite verses, but I know for a fact that someone's ears would start bleeding, so I'll spare you all from that possibility. Instead, I'll just have to settle for reading you my favorite part of the song. It says, "Jesus paid much too high a cost for us to pick and choose who should come." I've heard this song hundreds of times through the last couple of years, but I didn't quite feel the gravity of these words until this mission trip to South Carolina. If you look at our youth group sitting in front of me, you just see a bunch of teenagers who, granted, look like they're all about to fall asleep. We've had a long week, though, so you have to give us a break. What I see when I look into this group is a whole diverse community, a very inclusive one at that. We are a unique group of teenagers from all ends of the spectrum. We are a group filled with introverts and extroverts, people who don't speak often, and people who seem to speak way too much. We have people filled with fun facts. We have lax bros, and we have varsity football players. We have the musically talented and the not so talented at all. We have old childhood friends, and we have some completely new faces. And all together, one thing we have in common is our home here and our love for each other. Jesus paid much too high a price for us to pick and choose who should come. We do not make the members of our youth group fill out an application or to go through a long interview process or anything like that. If someone wants to be in the youth group, they're in the group, and it's the job for the rest of us to accept them and love them immediately, as though they've been here forever. Being in South Carolina showed me that our group is filled with the most inclusive and loving people I've ever met. We don't get to pick and choose who joins our group. We only get to pick and choose how we love them, because that's how to be a good follower of Christ. This also applies to outside our church community. Everywhere we go, whether it's us teenagers or the children or the older people in our church, we all must show love to everyone. There are no exceptions. We love everyone because Jesus loved everyone. He did not pick and choose who he wanted to love. He loved everyone with no question or hesitation, especially those who did not seem like they deserved love. No matter their background or their identity or their story, we must love everyone unconditionally. This mission trip opened my eyes to how well the teenagers in our youth group accept everyone and love everyone. We all get along for the most part, and we all know that we each have a place here, no matter how different we may seem from everyone else. So thank you, Wake Forest Baptist Church Youth Group, for allowing me to be loved by all of you for the past 6 years. And thank you for reminding me that this will always be my home. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Nick Nader. I just graduated from Wake Forest High School and will be attending UNC Charlotte in January. I first just want to say that the work we did this week was incredible, and every person sitting in front of me is a true testament to what being a Christian is all about. We started our week with 2 fun days where we could enjoy ourselves before being the hands and feet of Christ for people that needed our help. When the work week started, it started early, and I can promise you, I am not a morning person. However, once you are on that work site, there is a new energy that you get knowing that what you are doing is making an impact on somebody else's life for the better. This is why I love mission trips, because the more you put into these trips, the more you get in return, a feeling of profound satisfaction. Adam asked a question early in the week that sticks out to me. Would you rather help somebody, or would you rather be helped by somebody? Almost every person in the room raised their hand for wanting to help another. The world is a scary place at the moment, but if everyone had half the drive of the people in front of me to help somebody else rather than themselves, I think we would be living in a world that truly embodies and symbolizes God's love. Drive is an important word for me on mission trips. The definition of drive is an innate biological determined urge to attain or satisfy a need. This to me is key, because what drives you to come on this trip? What drives you to push through the aches and the pains and persevere on the work site? What drives you to keep hammering, or to keep digging, or to keep chopping in the rain? The great thing about drive is that it can be different for every person in this room. What drives me is knowing the work I do can make an impact on somebody else. Knowing the harder I work, the faster a little girl can sleep in her own home, and a single mom can have the comfort of knowing her daughter is safe and where she belongs. These disasters are terrible events that happen to innocent people that don't deserve it. But on the other side of the coin, they bring so much good from people like the ones in this church who have the drive and willingness to help others. Because of work, I have not had the chance to come to youth group and church a whole lot this year, which is something I truly will regret. You see, recently I have struggled with my faith and belief in God. I came on this trip to do some good, but it wasn't necessarily for God. But these people in front of me enabled me to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Watching how strong some of their faith is and how hard they work to be the hands and feet of God has revived my faith for the better. And I hope my faith grows to be as strong as the ones around me in the future. Thank you, Wake Forest Baptist Church.
I wish that everyone in this room had the opportunity to be a part of our experience and a part of our journey in Columbia, South Carolina this past week. And I hope you know that you very much were a part of our journey. Every night during our worship service, we lit a candle that represented each and every one of you, from all the prayers, the encouragegrams, the Christmas trees. Every single person in this room has been a very important part of making this week possible and making it an opportunity for our youth and chaperones to see God in unexpected ways. I could not be more proud of the group of people sitting in front of me, the 55 youth and the 20 adult leaders. They represented this church, this community, and they represented our God in an extraordinary way to our neighbors in South Carolina. To my right and your left, you see a cross with over 500 God moments. These are ways that our team saw God in unexpected and exciting ways, ways that God revealed himself to us as we did his work and were his hands and feet. Whether it was mold remediation in the super hot hazmat suits, whether it was getting outside of our comfort zone and going into dark crawl spaces to install insulation, whether it was installing subfloors, packing over 500 meals for senior adults who wouldn't have had anything to eat had we not been there, whether it was moving furniture or painting. Each and every one of these youth and adults have made a difference in the world. And that's very much an opportunity that I cherish being a part of. One story in particular that I wanted to share with you guys, we had kind of a record year. We've always gone on these trips, and the partners that we've worked with have told us, what a great group of workers we have, how it's the hardest working group that they've seen all summer. And I believe that to my core because I've worked alongside each of these youth and each of these teams this week. But one of the things that we've never really been able to do is cross the finish line and get a family back in their home. And so this year we had, for the very first time, a team that was able to get a family back in their home. We have always gotten homes really close so that it's just one more team, one more week, and then the family's at home. But that's never been our team. That's never been our week. And this year, for the first time, we were able on our last day to get a family and their 5-year-old daughter into their home, into their own beds for the first time in 2 years. And that's an incredible feeling. That's an incredible commitment and an incredible testimony for what each of these people did by giving up a week of their summer to be a part of this trip. I thank all of you for your support. It has been the highest joy, honor, and privilege of my life to lead and serve alongside each one of these ministries, or each one of these missionaries. So to God be the glory.
Our newest family members, first of all, want to welcome guests that are with us. There are a number of you've picked a great day to be here. I could not possibly proclaim a message the way you have heard today. Saber Abbey from our outreach team is over in the guest reception room. If you're a guest, we would love for you to stop by and we can share you information or get to know you a little bit better. Let me remind you again that tonight at 6 o'clock out at the Stevenson campus will be a hymn sing followed by ice cream, so we hope you'll come out for that. Immediately following the benediction today is our church conference, quarterly church conference over in the fellowship hall. Hope all of you will come over there for that. And then let me just reinforce again, I'm not the best one to talk about whether a sermon is good or not, but starting in 2 weeks, I am starting this sermon series. More than usual, I've put a lot of work into this, and more than usual, I've convinced it's really something a lot of people will benefit from. We're all looking for something to get us beyond just being happy, which is such a conditional thing. And so we made it easy for you to simply put one on the refrigerator to pray about it, and 2 of them is tear off and put in the hand of a friend or coworker or neighbor and invite them to come and be a part of this. You'll be surprised. All the studies show a personal invitation. More than half of the people who are invited will respond to that kind of thing. So So we want you to come and be a part of that. So having said that, Brooks and Scott and Jean, if you'll come up and join me, I need a microphone here. Now listen, our highest celebration is Brooks Hill coming to make his profession of faith. Quite frankly, when he came up here, I said, I thought you had already been baptized. This guy has been a leader in our youth group. He's a model for what we represent here at Wake Forest Baptist. He comes this day to make his profession of faith, to be public about what he's been public about in so many ways already. We love you. So we look forward to celebrating. What a high celebration that you come into the faith in such a special way. Just as much we celebrate Scott and Jean Cobb, who come this day upon transfer of membership. They've already been so involved in our church. They both sing in the choir. Jean helps already is providing leadership with handbells. They're just a wonderful couple. And delighted that we are now officially family in every way. So we welcome you, Scott and Jean Cobb. So all of you who share in this, let it be known to them a tangible expression of our celebration and delight by an uplifted hand, our sign of welcome and delight. So I hope you'll come up and welcome our newest family members. This is such a celebration. And we again, I love you guys as well. You make your pastor proud. And this is so much a part of our church's life, and the energy and witness that you bring. I went down there for 2 days. All I did was pat people on the back. They got no work out of me. But I love doing that and just showing them that how much I believe in them. So you're great. So let us now bow for the benediction and then the response to follow. Christ before you, Christ behind you, Christ within you. Grace upon grace, mercy upon mercy, love, all love. Jesus Christ our Lord. Thanks be to God.